Welcome learners to another session, e-learning session from Brain Pulley, and today's topic is Introduction to CSS. So before we start with this, I just want to tell that this is a continuation of our previous session, that was the Introduction to HTML, and that's how even this session has been designed. So it has been designed keeping in mind that you have a basic understanding of HTML. So just in case if you have not watched the previous sessions, I will recommend that go back and see our previous session of HTML. And also a lot of examples of what we will take up here is again continuation from the previous session. So that will help. So coming to CSS. So CSS has been introduced with the HTML version 4, and it was a very big change from its previous versions of web development. So we will go through them one by one. Just to summarize the course, we have again break this session into three major sessions. One is all about the introduction, what is CSS, how to use it, what is the syntax. We will see some basic styling. Then we will go to little more detailed layouts, like how we can use it to have create a modern website where we don't rely much on tables and other things. And then in the last we will look at some advanced concepts of CSS. So going forward, what is CSS? So CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. So if you notice that this is actually an acronym for three terms: cascading, style, and sheets. So let's talk about style first. Till now, whatever you have watched in our previous sessions about HTML, so HTML was actually designed to represent a document, not to design it. The original intention behind HTML was not to design a page, it was to represent a page. So it has all the tags like ankle H, say H1, H2, ankle P, or say ankle input. So all these tags were meant to define a page, like this is a heading, this is a paragraph, this is a list. We had tags like ankle li, that this is a list item. So it was just to define a page, and then browsers used to render them or show them at their own convenience. So that's why a single page shown in Mozilla or Internet Explorer or Firefox or Chrome or Safari can have some minor to subtle variations. Like few places it has very minor variations like fonts, they don't use the exactly same font, and many places they have big variations. For example, list items, they can have very big differences in the margins and other kind of things. So the problem with that is the developer didn't had much of a control over the look and feel of the page. So then more advanced tags were introduced, like font. So with tags like font, you can set the font style, set the font color. You have a full control over the font of that particular section. And then we have tags like table, which were actually heavily abused by the developer to lay out the entire page. So initially the table was intended to show small rows and columns for the tabular kind of data. But then developers started using table to design their entire page. So what they used to do, they used to create a big table, create a heading, then they used to divide. So all this layouting developers used to do with tables. So yes, everything can be done, but it comes with the cost of maintainability. That when you do this kind of things, like for every place you have to put font, every place you have to put table, a lot of extra work was needed, not only at the time of creation, also at the time of later modifications. Say today you use a particular font with particular set of colors, and say you have around 100 pages, and each page may contain say 50 paragraphs, and you can go in every paragraph and say ankle font equal to Arial, font equal to Arial, font equal to Arial. and tomorrow your client says, no, I don't like Arial, give me a different font, say Comic Sans, then you have to go and find and replace at every place. So this was actually a very, very big problem in web development. So with this, W3C, the worldwide consortium, recommended a new way of defining styles. How can I define a style of my page? And that was called CSS, Cascading Style Sheets. So now we got a basic understanding of what is a style. So we will see going forward how we can actually style it. So what they do is, they didn't style per element. You can definitely go and style per element, but they also provided a mechanism to create sheets. So you can actually have separate sheets only for style and separate sheet for data. So basically what it does, it separates your design from data. It splits your design aspect from the data aspect in form of sheets. And what we can do, you can have them externally defined. You don't have to mix them with your HTML. You can have a separate file called a CSS file stored in a file name called .css file, and it can be reused across multiple pages. So that's why it's called style sheets, and it can be used at 3 levels. You can have an external style sheet, you can have an internal style sheet, or even you can have an element level style. So this is a kind of a hierarchy that we will see and going forward. So this, you can define these styles in this hierarchy, and that's why it's called cascading. So how it happens, okay, we will discuss cascading part again in detail. So basically these are the some of the few advantages of using CSS over traditional HTML, and because of all this, it actually heavily saves a lot of work. And another major advantage is you can show the same content differently on different settings. Example, you can have the same HTML rendered differently on a mobile browser, on a tablet, on a screen, or even to a printer. So that gives you again a heavy, a lot of work being saved there, because now you don't have to actually create multiple websites. Previously, people actually used to create multiple websites. They used to create a separate website for mobile and separate website for desktop. But now all these new devices, and especially there are so many subtle changes. For example, tablet. So tablet is still in between. It's not even a mobile, it's not even a desktop. But with CSS, you can actually don't worry about what the device is. You can define style based on height and width of the page. So that's how things got revolutionized with CSS, and nowadays you won't even find any website which doesn't use CSS. So we'll see more about it. So, okay, we talked so much about CSS, but again, CSS is a language like HTML, and it has some of its own syntaxes also. So in this slide, we will roughly just look at the syntax. We will see how and where to use them, and then we will have a quick demo of them. So CSS style sheets basically are comprised of lot of styles. One sheet can have more than one style, and then its style is defined by 2 parts: the selector part and the declaration part. So selector parts tells the browser that I want to apply this style on these tags or these elements, whichever matches my selector. So you can, for just to start with, you can think that this is kind of a ID, and based on this ID, we apply this style to all the elements. But we don't call it ID because this is not limited only to the HTML IDs. This is a lot more powerful than that, and that's why we in generally call it selector. So we'll go and define them more in more details. So following is example. So these are actually 2 different styles. This is 1 and this is 2. The syntax is, we have written this selector, then in the curly bracket we have defined the style. So we have a selector called .p, and in curly bracket we have two properties, color and text align, and then the values. For color I have given the value red, and for text align I have given the value center. Similarly, this is another style that is being applied to dot body, and again these curly brackets, and it's a multi-line style where we have so many parameters, so many properties. We are setting font family, font size, color and background color, and then separated by colon, these are the values. So don't get scared with so many symbols, comma, semicolon and other things. So we will definitely go through them one by one. But just to summarize, again, we have a selector, then we have a curly bracket inside which we define the style. In this style, we define the properties with the name like this color, and then we use colon, normal colon, and then the value. And if we have more than one property, then we separate each property with semicolon. So this is the syntax: property, colon, value, semicolon, and all enclosed in the braces or curly brackets, and we give it a selector. Say in this example it is h1, in this example it is p, and in the example it is dot body. So anyway, we will come back to it again, but going forward, now where should we write this? We got a little look at it, like how to write it, but where can we write it? So it can be written in three places. Either I can write it for each element within the HTML tag, that we call it as inline styling, and for that we use the style attribute in the HTML. Example, say I have example called a tag called ankle P, and it has some text on it, and then I have /p. So in this paragraph tag, what I will do, after the ankle P, I will add a new attribute called style, equal to, and then whatever style I want to define, I will write it here and I will complete the tag. So this is how we do it inline within the HTML. Then we have internal. So internal style sheet is a mechanism where we can define the style for the entire page at one place, but still within the page. So we define the internal style sheets in the HTML at the head section. Last time we discussed that in HTML we had a head section and a body section, and last time we saw only the title tag. So this is another tag called style. So now notice this is not attribute. When we use inline, we use attribute style. When we use internal style sheet, we use a tag style. How does it look? It looks ankle HTML. So this is our main tag. Then we have a tag ankle head, and then inside the head we will have style. Inside style we will write the style, and then we will close the style. So this is a tag, not an attribute. So we will see more detail in our next slides. And in the last, we can define them externally, outside our HTML. We will write them in separate style sheet files. We will have the extension .css, and we will link them to our HTML pages. So let's see each of them in more detail and with a demo. So again, notice this page. It is a small page where we have HTML, we have a head, and then we have a body. So this is the body tag, the main body, and my HTML pages closes. So here within the body, I have set a style called background color, and I am using a color code. We will get more on colors when we look at the background things, but just to quickly summarize, This is like in HTML, we can either use directly color names or color codes. How to use color code? If you remember it from the last HTML color section, we can use hash, and then we can write three components: red, green, and blue, RGB, in hexadecimal numbers, 2 digit of hexadecimal numbers. FF means 255, that is the full, and 00 means 0, so it's like 0. So this is a full red and no portion of green involved and no portion of blue involved. So it's a full red. So when we will open this page, we will see the body background color as full red. So this is an example of inline styling. So we'll see a demo where not only body, we will see few other elements being changed. So for this, we will take one of our previous pages that we created in our HTML session last time. So we have the Mars orbiter page. In this page, we have the one head H1, some paragraphs, images, some different types of headings, and more paragraphs. So we'll go to its source code, mars.html. So see here, we have the HTML head. We have a title called My First Web Page, body, and H1, paragraph H2. So let's see the example from the slide. So in body, I want a background color. So I say body style equal to background color. Say I want to put a color yellow. I go and save it, go to my page and refresh. But this thing we could have done from HTML also. In HTML, we have an attribute for body called bg color. Why do we need CSS? CSS is not tag specific. HTML is tag specific. For example, the bg color is available only in body. It's not available in paragraph. But CSS doesn't see what tag it is. It can be applied to any tag. So let's see that. Let's apply a background to this paragraph. Style equal to background color. Say we use a color code, red, green, blue, with some combination, say 20, 70. So we got the first paragraph background color changed to some color of combination of red, green, blue, which came up like a purple. So this is how we can change style of any element in our page individually. Going forward, next is how to apply style internally in an internal style sheet. So here we use a special tag inside head called style, and we mention the type equal to text/CSS. Basically, we tell the browser that we are writing a style in CSS and it's a normal plain text. Then inside this style, we use the selector, and then we define the style. So in this case, selector is a tag name, body. So it will apply to all the elements in the HTML which are body tag. But again, in our HTML, it is only one tag called body. But in the demo, we will see that how we can have more tags, and later on we will discuss on each of the selectors in more detail also. Let's go to the demo. Let's start with the body. So instead of defining a style inline, I will define it as a style in my head section. So in this style section or a style tag, I define a new style called the selector is body, and inside I say background color, say hash 10, 20, 30. Say 80 and 90. So notice we got a new background for our body, but also notice that we have not defined any special attribute to the body tag. So this is being taken from the style section above. So see how here we separate out the style from our contents. So if you just see at the HTML content, we don't have mentioned any special styling tags. Let's now take another example. So again I want to color the paragraphs. So I take the selector as P. P is like all the tags, all the P tags or all the paragraph tags within my page, not one of them. And let's say color is to blue. Save and refresh. Now notice all my paragraphs are in color blue, not only one. And also notice that my first paragraph, which I had mentioned an inline style of background purple, is still there. So this is how the cascadingness of CSS is demonstrated. So here, if you notice, we had a special style P which says background color equal to #F2070, and then we have a general style or the internal style at top saying all paragraphs should have color blue. So for this portion, what browser does is cascades both the style. It merges both the style and creates kind of a special style for this paragraph which has color equal to blue and background is equal to purple. And not only this, we can also go and specifically override a previously defined style also. So we have all the paragraphs with color blue, but only for this paragraph I want color red. Let's save it. So see, all the paragraphs are color blue and this particular color paragraph is with color red, and the previous one, the text is blue and the background is magenta. So now let's put the same kind of style in my other pages where, or the other website that we created last time from HTML, where we have created separate pages. So I had that open. So this is my previous HTML page where I have one main page for Mars orbiter, and then we have separate pages for history, objectives, like this. So now let me put this style there. So what I need to do is I can go in the code, I can copy my style section and put it in the main page. Here. But see, the problem here is this style is effective to only this page. So now notice that I have added the style in this page and my page got updated. But when I open other pages, the style is not available there. So this style is local to my current page only. So one option is I can copy paste this content or this style content to all my pages individually, separate. But again, if you have created some really big set of styles, a very interactive set of styles, and if you have 100 pages and you need to copy them everywhere, it will be a big work. It will take a lot of time. Another problem which comes up is when we define so much styling, and every time we open a web page, it has to be downloaded. So the overall size of your HTML increases. So for that, we have the mechanism of external style sheets. So how do we use external style sheets, we first write the style in a separate file. In this example, it says there is a style sheet under a folder called style relative to my HTML page, and the name of the file is style.css. And notice in the head only, instead of the style tag, we use a different tag called link. And then we say the relation is, it is a style sheet. The type is text/style and open this file. And this is a empty tag. So we close it with /ankle. So with this, we can just link this page to an external style sheet. We don't have to write the entire style code back in our files. So let's see a demo of that. So instead of writing this style, I cut it out into a new file. Let me save it as, say, blue.css. And in my main, instead of style, I use a tag called link. Relation equal to style sheet, type equal to text CSS. But I have to tell where that sheet is. So I say href to the file name, and it should be relative. Either it should be a full absolute path, or it should be a relative path. So we have kept the file next to this HTML only, so we can use directly the file name blue.css. I save it. Now I go here and see. So no change, because it's already, the style is mentioned there. But let's look at the other pages. This page still doesn't have the style. Why? Because we have not linked them yet. So still I need to copy paste a little bit, but it is not the entire style. So instead I put it under all my sub pages, only the link part. Refresh. Now let's go to other pages. See, the style is being implemented to all the pages. So with this demo, we will take a small break and we'll continue after